It has been 1 year since a 2-year-old was found dead on the property of this once thriving, licensed daycare that you see behind me here, and her parents are still searching for answers as to how their entire life changed that fateful day. I'm standing in front of a once thriving daycare on County Road 45 in the small hamlet of Baltimore, Ontario, just north of Cobourg, about an hour east of Toronto, where the body of a 2-year-old little girl was found dead inside of a closed-lid septic tank last year. Watch Me Grow Daycare was the scene of a crime on May 25th, 2023. When Claire Irwin, the mother of baby Vienna Rose Irwin, arrived to pick her 2-year-old daughter up, she was nowhere to be found. Claire immediately called the police, who arrived swiftly on scene. The already deceased body of her once lively toddler was pulled from what is said to have been a closed-lid septic tank, which was in the middle of the toddler's play yard, as you can see in this photo. Now, a year has passed and the Ontario Provincial Police have made no arrests in the case. The OPP issued a press release last week to reassure the community that the criminal investigation remains ongoing, but won't say much else to protect the integrity of the said investigation. Community members, family, friends, and strangers alike gathered on the weekend on the 1-year anniversary of Vienna's passing with butterflies, which have become a community symbol to commemorate Vienna. As a curious toddler supposed to have her whole life ahead of her, butterflies were one of her favorite things to watch in wonder. Armed with these butterflies, gear, and signs, the community rallied on Saturday, May 25th, 2024 to show solidarity with Claire and her husband Clay, and to give a voice to Vienna so that the public knows that her family remains desperate for answers as to what happened that day a year ago. How did Vienna end up not only unaccounted for, but dead inside of a closed septic tank in the playground of this licensed daycare facility, which her parents entrusted her in? Who's responsible? Why was no one looking for her? And why was Claire the first to call the police? How long was Vienna in the septic tank? And why have there been no arrests? Here's what some of those closest to the Irwins had to say. What brings you out today?
Well, I'm just in support of the family, Clay and Claire, and just helping to bring visibility to this. I'm also an educator in the field, so having some experience and background and knowledge in this, it's just kind of really touched home, even despite the fact that, as a friend and as a mother myself, this story has just kind of hit everybody in the depths of their heart. It's aching all the time, right? And then as an educator, I want to see that the knowledge around kind of what's required, what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened, and ultimately knowing that this was completely preventable. That is the biggest ache of all, and especially as a professional in the field, I just want to bring attention to this.
Okay, so we're here to support the family, Claire and Clay, in this tragic loss. I can't even say it in a better way, really.
Yeah, we're just here to continue to show Vienna's parents that their daughter will never be forgotten, and we will forever be here fighting beside them until they have answers as to exactly what happened that day.
They're not alone. They're not alone. We're right there with them.
Yeah.
So I'm here today to support my best friend and her husband for the tragic loss that we lost our little Vienna. And I just am here to show support and get justice for what has happened.
What do you think is the most disturbing part of this whole situation and unfolding?
The main words that always keep repeating in my head is duty to report. As educators, our first priority, our first focus should be those children, always. And whether you see something, hear something, anything that just isn't right, regardless of how you feel about those around you and the connections there, ultimately your responsibility as a professional is to report.
People need to be held accountable for what happened that day before Vienna's mom arrived to pick her daughter up. babies don't end up in septic tanks. Vienna did not put the lid back on, regardless of what happened, how she got in there. People need to be held accountable. The truth needs to come out. Her parents deserve answers. Vienna's voice, everything was taken away from her that day, and she deserves so much better.
Where she was found, all the answers, people are supposed to be looking after her, and they didn't. And we are now without a specific person in our life, and it's just disturbing that nobody has come forward to say anything or done anything. It's like all hush hush, and so we're here to make sure that people are listening and hear us.
How can justice for Vienna be brought forward?
That's the more challenging question. Basically, we just want people to be held responsible. Like, I get that we're human, but at the end of the day, we have a responsibility in that position of, of power, of care, that position of responsibility. So I don't know what the ultimate answer is to that, but essentially, we need answers. We need to know what happened, and then to be able to prevent such things in the future. It would be nice for, maybe some changes to be made kind of on a larger scale.
I think just the community continuing to support us as her close friends. In events like this, not letting a single day pass without talking about it, informing someone of, the truth and what we know. The lack of communication from the OPP about the investigation is extremely concerning. The fact that it's 365 days later and it's continuing.
Well, starting is we would want answers for closure. That is a big thing, but we also, our other big thing is we want people to be held accountable. Nobody's held accountable right now. They're living their life, having a great summer, and here we are, devastated, and now this is our new reality. So justice would be the biggest thing. That's why the hashtag is the way it is. We want answers, and we want truthful answers, not lying and not saying anything and being quiet. We need people to go and say things and be brought into the OPP. The cops need to.
Vienna didn't, throw her shoes and her jacket on herself that day and go outside to play. She was not by herself. She was in an enclosed play yard that was supposed to keep her safe. And so many people failed her on so many ways. And somebody knows what happened. She was not by herself. Someone knows what happened. That lid was placed back on. Why it was off in the first place, I don't know if we'll ever know.
So many wrongs, and how do you call yourself a facility that cares for people's children? You drop your kid off with hopes that you can go to work and feel a little bit of a peace of mind. She was not alone. She, like Heather said,
she trusted those people. She got ready to go outside with people she trusted. Exactly. She felt safe with, and they failed her. And the lack of remorse that has been shown by every single person that was supposed to keep her safe that day is probably one of the worst parts of this. It's gutting to know that there's people that they don't care. We're not going to forget.
If you had a message for anyone involved, whether it be the OPP, the providers, the community, what would your message be?
My message to the daycare people is that you should be coming and saying something to the cops. You should be. That's what you do. That's what you went for. That's what you did for school, is you were going to protect people. Well, you're not protecting people. And I have to say, for the community, thank you so much for the support. It means, there's no words to say how much we appreciate the support.
If you appreciate that Rebel gets out, even if it's in the pouring rain, to give you on-the-ground exclusive coverage of various topics, please consider donating to offset the costs of our work and support us in these endeavors. You can do that at rebelfieldreports.com. At that website, you can also check out all of our on-the-ground, in-the-field reporting and support us if you can. That's rebelfieldreports.com.